Start the party. The station beats for your music 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Hello and welcome to the Geo-Nutz podcast, listeners. Today we have a very special guest joining us today. This guest being my longtime friend, Professor Ronaldo RisingFume Gonzalaz from the University of Caracas, Venezuela.
Hey everyone.
Well, Ronaldo, or Professor Ronaldo, for all of those listening at home, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of what you do in Caracas?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Job. Hello everyone. I'm Professor Ronaldo. I work as a geometry professor at the University of Caracas, which is in northern Venezuela, and I typically teach high-level geometry.
Well, it's great to have you here on the show, Professor Ronaldo RisingFume Gonzalaz. Now, since you're a mathematician, and this show is about mathematics, why don't you talk about something which relates to your field of expertise?
Sure. What do you have in mind, Job?
Well, on this show, we typically discuss the history of mathematics as well as how mathematics is used. Yet, knowing your history, I believe that it would be quite interesting if we were to go over both a general history of the Pythagorean theorem, as it's one of the basic building blocks of geometry, and a general summary or explanation of how the Pythagorean theorem is used and how it works generally. Of course, I
yes.
assume it's quite a simple thing, but of course, it'd be nice for the viewers. I mean, our age range is around, for listeners, for some reason, children 13 to 16 are listening to this over the radio. So, you know, go ahead.
Yes, the Pythagorean theorem is one of my favorites. It's said that the Pythagorean theorem predates that of Pythagoras by several centuries, and even records and mentions of the theorem being found all the way back in ancient India. Yet, it is Pythagoras who is credited with the invention, or more likely, the popularization of further development of the so-called Pythagorean theorem.
Wow, I did not know that. That is so wackadoodle. I cannot believe that Pythagoras was not the one to first invent it in the world. That's so absolutely bonkers. Does that mean that Pythagoras stole the theorem, or that Pythagoras just popularized or discovered it within Europe? Is it something like the invention of or occurrence of the Neolithic Revolution with agriculture, where it developed independently in several different areas by themselves, or was it, how is that?
Well, you see, it's not that Pythagoras stole the theorem, but instead that it is rediscovered and popularized in ancient Greece/Europe by him. Of course, mentions of similar theorems do indeed predate Pythagoras, but Pythagoras was one who rediscovered, popularized it in the Mediterranean and Europe.
Wow, that is quite surprising. Is there anything else you could tell us about the Pythagorean theorem? Possibly something about how it works or is used in mathematics?
Oh, yes, of course. To answer your question, the Pythagorean theorem is a mathematical formula which is used to locate the longest side of a right triangle. More specifically, it states that if you are to have a triangle which has two sides which are smaller than the third, then all you must do is find the length of the third and add the squared values of the two other sides in order to find the value of the third side.
Wow, that is very useful. Well, that's all we have for today, folks. Tune in next time to see what we discuss.
But before we end it, we'll go to a quick ad break. Thank you to the Lieutenant Car Insurance for sponsoring this podcast.
White trash rates from an army guy. Here is a penguin, don't know why.
The General Car Insurance. It'll worry whoever you hit.
Thank you to Lieutenant Car Insurance for sponsoring this podcast.
Oh, well, suppose we won't end. We have a caller coming in. Ring, ding, ding. Bum, bum. Ding,
Beep,
ding,
beep,
ding.
beep, 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 beep.
Ding, ding. Bum, bum. Ding, ding, ding.
Cha-ching!
Hello, my name is Ernan Geezer Seuss, and I live in France. I'm calling you to ask a question about Pythagoras theorem, and I was wondering how we could use Pythagoras theorem in Geo-Nutz.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Zootin Schwartz. You don't sound too much like a Frenchman to me, but I'll give you the doubt. I'll give you an example of Pythagoras theorem and how we use it today. Pythagoras theorem is used to find the unknown side of a right-angled triangle. An example of this is, let's say the triangle has two sides, which are given to us as 4 and 6, and the hypotenuse, or third side, can be found by using the formula C2 equals AB plus B2, or the two sides, side 3 equals side 1 plus side B squared.
Wow, thank you so much, Professor Ronaldo. This will really help me with my homework.
No problem, Zootin Schwartz. Have a nice day, Sonny.
Well, that was so absolutely wackadoodle. That was great. I've never had a call on this show before because 3 Croatian children listened to my amazing Fortnite beats on SoundCloud. Now, mental asylum to the side. It's been great having you on here, Mr. Ronaldo RisingFume Gonzalaz, the third of Yorkshire and Clavante. So we're on. Yeah, Jebediah Ronald Scheme is my full name. Did you know that?
Yes, I've looked it up.
Oh, really? Where'd you find me? Onlychungus.org?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Did you see my that news report about how I broke out of the mental asylum?
I think we're getting aside from the point, Sonny.
Oh, we have another caller. Hi, my name is Ricky Balboa, and I live in Vernon, Texas. I was just wondering about where the Pythagorean theorem started.
Good question, Ricky Balboa III. So, the Pythagorean theorem dates all the way back to ancient India and Egypt. It was first conceptualized in Euclidean geometry, which was formed by, of course, Euclid himself. Then Pythagoras' theorem improved on the idea and made it popular in ancient Greece. So, unlike many people think, Pythagoras didn't make the theorem, he just popularized it.
Oh, that's so interesting, Professor Ronaldo. That was really interesting, and I'm glad I got to learn some cool information.
Well, no problem, Ricky. Ask me anytime.
Goodbye, Ronaldo.
Beep, beep. Oh, Job, you almost forgot something.
Well, I almost forgot about our rap segment. We brought in the world-famous rapper 3-Pack. Today, he will be doing a Pythagorean theorem rap. We hope you enjoy.
I'm so excited for the rap, Job. I just can't wait.
Well, me neither. Well, let's just get into it. Ooh, yeah, my yee. It's mathematics, symbols and signs. The most complex becomes simple with time mathematics. See what you find when you start to look for it with disciplined mind mathematics. Logic and proof, that is used to determine mathematical truth. It's mathematics. Step into class, and by the time the bell rings, I hope you're ready for math. Yeah. In a right triangle, 2 given sides. Use Pythagorean theorem. You can find unknown values. You have 3. Label all the sides with A, B, and C. Yo looking for safe? This is where you'll find me. I am the right side across from 90 degrees, the angle with a little square shaped like an L from the legs that are there. If we call them legs, what do we call the third side? It's called hypotenuse. Say it if you heard it right. Hypotenuse. longer than the other two sides. So we're finding the missing side. Here's what you gotta know. The question C is on its own. Of the three numbers, it's always alone. It goes A squared, yeah. Plus B squared equals C squared, yeah. That's right, like an angle. Use the Pythagorean theorem. You can find unknown values so you have three. Label all the sides with A, B, and C. In a right triangle, given two sides of the Pythagorean theorem, you can find unknown values, so you have three. Label all the sides with A, B, and C. A squared, B squared, yeah. C squared, yeah. Here's a way to do it when you're given both legs. Square them, add them, and see what you get. Take the square root of that. And that's the last. Now you just find the hypotenuse, right? It's a little different when one leg is missing. Set up the equation, everything in its position. Square the hypotenuse, same for the leg. Subtract similar number for bigger. What do you got? Down to the last step. Take a road. Now I'm plenty sure that you know what we're to do. In a right triangle given two sides, use Pythagorean theorem. You can find unknown values, so you have three. Label all the sides with A, B, and C. A squared, yeah, plus B squared, yeah, equals C squared, yeah. In a right triangle given two sides of the Pythagorean theorem, you can find unknown values, so you have three. Label all the sides with A, B, and C. A squared, yeah, plus B squared, yeah, equals C squared, yeah. Two plaque oots.
Well, that was just great, 3-pack. That was incredible rapping right there. Don't
Thank
you
you
think,
so
Joe?
much.
Joe,
Now I
what
have
do
to
you
go on
think?
world tour with and dot.
Okay.
Wow, that was so epic kecking stamp. I can't believe we managed to afford this rap genius. I bet they'll do a collaboration with this Sprindig.
Well, I hope that helps you learn math. But that's all we have today. I hope to see you
You know
next
what?
time.
All right, well, that's all we have for you today, guys. Goodbye.